Have you ever looked back at an old version of yourself? The you who tolerated too much, who settled for pickles and crackers and thought that she was doing her best and just wanted to say, girl, thank you, but we're done. Well, this episode is my love letter and goodbye to the woman that I used to be. Because without her, I wouldn't be me. But she can't come where I'm going. And if you're listening, maybe you're ready to let go of the old version of yourself too. So, welcome to season 1 finale of Pink Table Confidential. Let's close this chapter together, okay? Now, before we jump in, this show is always and forever sponsored by Sweet Kitty Club, and that is where I make organic feminine care products for the girls that like to keep kitties sweet. We use clean ingredients for good hygiene. And trust me, your kitty will thank you. So you can head on over to sweetkittyclub.com. You can use code Pink Table at checkout for a sweet discount. And I've got to thank each and every one of you that have been rocking with us from day one. I know I have taken a very long break, but I do appreciate all the comments, the likes, the shares. I don't take it for granted. Because when we support each other, incredible things happen, okay? So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, okay? Now, before we dive in today's episode, I do want to pause and share something personal. On August 27th, I lost my father, all right? It has been over a month now, and it has been one of the hardest, most eye-opening experiences of my life. We were all born to die, but this really took me out. Now, from planning funeral arrangements to sitting with my family in grief, I've learned a lot about love, legacy, and how important it is to say goodbye even when you don't want to. So today's episode isn't just a letter to my old self, it's also a goodbye to my father. But you know me, it's always going to be a mix of sacred and silly, okay? So before we kick old Tana to the curb, let's get into some hot topics, okay? Now, we got to catch up on what's been going on out here in the wild. I won't hold you. Your girl hasn't been much on social media. Like I said, not only did I take a hiatus from Pink Table, I kind of took like a hiatus from social media too. I really needed to get out of my news feed, y'all, and I dove head first into my new favorite pastime, okay? Yes, I got a new hobby. Let me tell you about it. Your girl is a new plant mom. So at the time of this recording, I'm up to 34 plants, okay? And they are all surviving and thriving, baby, okay? I've even started propagating some. Like I'm the real deal. I'm the real deal, okay? I'm serious about this, and it has really kept me saying, like, no lie. I have really found a lot of therapy in it. And it's so funny because I was never into plants. Like before, every plant that I had, I killed them. It was something about my dad's passing. And I got to thank my sister because she kind of introduced me to plants, and it was like she made the introduction, baby, but me and the plants are best friends, okay? We are like we've been knowing each other forever, and I just love it. Like I said, it's been so therapeutic. So if I'm not making products to ship to my bays, which I also find therapeutic as well, or recording podcasters here at the after party, you are gonna find me with dirt in my fingernails because I am grooming my babies, okay? And if you want to support my plant journey and how I'm using this newfound hobby to bring life, then by all means you can check out Montanna's must-haves from Amazon. Okay, I've got 3 of my must-have plants, okay? That's on my plant wish list because Pop said I cannot spend another dime on plants, okay? But anyway, there were a couple of things that I didn't miss, okay, even in my hiatus. And for one, y'all, Diddy was sentenced to 50 months in prison. Are we surprised? I've got to be honest. I am. Because I don't think any of us thought that, he would do another day. Like that once the sentencing happened, the judge was going to release him. But the judge actually said to him during sentencing that if he released him, then he did not feel as though Diddy would have learned his lesson. So no release. So he won't be home for the holidays like me and his kids thought he would be. And then there was Cardi B dropping her album, Am I the Drummer? She went on this whole press tour, y'all. And that's when we discovered that she had a whole baby in her stomach by a whole nother man while she is still married to Offset. And I know some of y'all gonna be like, oh, well, guys do it too. We ain't talking about them. We talking about Cardi. Cardi, what are you doing? What are you doing? I could really go deep into this conversation in all kind of ways. I'm with the old folks, okay? I'm with the baby boomers, okay? You are supposed to do things in decency and in order, and she ain't doing it. And let me tell you something. Cardi B, and for the girls who do like to move like Cardi, let me tell you. Now she already said that she was crying for 300 days last year, and you finna be them tears is not finna stop. They are not finna stop. I don't understand why she thought this was the move to get back at her husband. But what we know to be true is how things start is how it's gonna be. You start out wrong, baby, it's gonna be wrong all up and down. You just watch and see. Okay, so she's been out parading and saying she the drama, and she's still married to Offset, which she says he is holding her hostage because he won't sign them divorce papers. He wants her to give him some money, he wants a house, and he wants her to pay those taxes. And he said, hey, why y'all mad at me? Because if the shoe was on the other foot and she was asking for these things, y'all wouldn't be saying nothing. Okay? Now, bad enough, she was out here working and she was telling y'all needed to buy her album or she was going to get back on the pole. And come to find out, those album sales, they were good, but they didn't surpass Miss Nicki Minaj's, okay? And, she thought they were going to surpass Nicki, but they didn't. And so when Nicki came on social media reminding y'all who the queen is, Cardi got mad. They went into a big exchange that lasted for days on Twitter, okay? And listen, I'm going to tell y'all now, don't say shit to me about Nicki Minaj, okay? Because there is nothing Nicki can do or say that's going to make me not like her, period. So go on over there with that, okay? But lastly, y'all, this story is still developing, but did y'all see Wendy and Eddie Osefo from Real Housewives of Potomac? They were arrested this past week on fraud charges. Not Miss I got 50 degrees and I'm smarter than anyone in the room, okay? Yeah, she and her husband were both arrested for fraud, okay? Now, allegedly, they were filing false insurance claims on jewelry that they had already returned to the store and got their money back. Y'all listen, she had the audacity to show up on a red carpet, take photos on the red carpet with her cute little pose showing her hand with the ring that she said was stolen. Now, y'all know, you filing these big ass insurance claims, if that's what you do, you gotta know they have a whole group, like something like asset protection, that is making sure you are saying what you're saying is true. They are going to do their due diligence. Girl, they're not going to pay out all this money and just let you skip in the damn tulips. Hell no. They've been on her ass. And they built up their case and the grand jury said, run it. And y'all, she been quiet. She has been quiet on social media. And we know Wendy is not a girl to be quiet, but she quiet. I cannot make this up, okay? Where is the camera? Right here? Party people, read my lips. We are living in a digital world, okay? Everything you do, even the shit you don't even want people to know you out here doing, it is being documented. You are leaving every time you're on the internet, every time you are sending emails, DMs, whatever the case, you're leaving a little digital footprint of breadcrumbs and they're coming right back to you when you do some dumb shit. And people are going to find it. Damn. I tell you. Anyway, we have to start using our heads for more than hat racks. Okay? Now, their story is still developing, and I'm going to keep y'all in the loop. But that's enough tea. We got to switch some gears because this next part is from the heart. Okay? Now, first example of how a man should treat you comes from your father. And in that sense, I was lucky because my daddy set the bar high. He was a hardworking man, he was a living legend. And before he left this earth, he was a professional race car driver, a husband to my mama for 58 years, and head of the deacon board for over a decade. I mean, come on now. This man lived a full life. He was respected, he was solid, and he loved hard. And because of him, I learned early what to expect from a man and what not to accept. But when he passed on August 27th, I learned something new. I learned that grief hits in waves and that sometimes love hurts in ways you can't prepare for. Now, y'all, let me be real. The funeral process, it was a lot. It was planning, coordinating, the whole nine, okay? It was like there was always something that needed to be done. It didn't give me any space to grieve properly. And I have to admit this. But once the funeral was finally over, I felt relieved. Not because my daddy was gone, but because I was tired of the show. The checking in calls, the sending prayers texts, and all the stuff people say because that's what's expected to see when somebody dies. But after a week has gone by, silence. A month has gone by, crickets. Okay, the phone stops ringing, the prayer stops, and you're left sitting in your feelings. Solo dolo, okay? And what's wild is the same people who didn't really check for you before your daddy passed, guess what? They still not gonna do it after it. So nothing has changed. I also saw a lot of entitlement that really blew my mind. Like, why do people feel the need to tell a man's daughter, your dad was like a father to me, and then proceed to cry even harder than I do? Like, you really want to say, like, but he wasn't your daddy, he was mine. Get up out of my face and let me grieve, okay? But you can't say that. You just give a little fake ass smile and you just keep it moving because you know it's not worth the energy. And now that I've gone through this, I understand some things differently. I remember when my cousin Aldrich died. He was one of my best friends, and I asked for some of his ashes. He was cremated. I asked for some of his ashes. Now, at the time, I didn't think that it was out of pocket, but looking back, maybe, because the timing, the emotions, it just wasn't the right moment. So now I understand, like I remember this look my cousin gave me when I mentioned about those ashes. Now I understand it. Because that's the thing about loss. It teaches you perspective. My dad was a lot to a lot of people, a husband, a father, a friend, a mentor, man of God. He will truly be missed. So, Daddy, thank you. Thank you for showing me what real love, real work, and real manhood looks like. Thank you for your lessons, for the laughter, the protection, and for the high standards. I'll carry you with me forever. So this goodbye, it wasn't easy for me, but I know that my dad would want me to keep living, to keep loving, and to keep building the life that we talked about. It isn't the end, it's just goodbye for now. So, losing my father taught me a lot about love, but it also taught me a lot about letting go too. Because grief isn't just about losing a person. Sometimes it's about releasing an old version of yourself that existed before the loss. The version of you who thought you had more time. The version of you who still believed that certain people would show up and they didn't. And the version of you who didn't yet understand that peace sometimes means distance. And that's really what today's episode is about. Letting go with love. Just like I had to say goodbye to my dad, I've also have to say goodbye to an old version of me. The one who overgave, overworked, over-explained. The one who was doing her best but deserved better. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why we hold on to the old versions of ourselves. Like, even when we know it's time to grow up and move on. Like, have you noticed how hard it is to let go of an old version of yourself, even when you know she doesn't fit anymore? Sometimes, y'all, that hold on to that old version because she's familiar. She's comfortable. Even if she was tired, even if she was anxious, overworked, or overstimulated, or surrounded by people who didn't pour back into her, she was safe. And safe doesn't always mean healthy, though. It's like you wearing a pair of shoes that used to fit, but now they pinching your toes. So now it's time for a new pair, but you keep slipping them on because they feel like you. That's what it's like holding on to your old self. You know, the drama, the chaos, the self doubt, they start to feel like identity. But now, sis, that's just survival, not identity. There is a fear of change, okay? I have it. There, I said it. I don't like change because stepping into, something unknown is scary for me. Plus, I'm an Aquarius and y'all know we overthink every damn thing. So now I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I'm over anxious. It also means admitting that you don't recognize yourself right now. It means being okay with saying, I don't know what's next, but I trust me. That's what change is about. Let me tell you a story. There was a point where I realized I had outgrown a friendship, but I didn't want to face it. Like, we had history, years of laughter, tears, inside jokes, but every time we talked, I felt heavy. Like I had to dim my light just to make the conversation work. And deep down, I knew that version of me, the one who tolerated that energy, had expired. But I stayed out of loyalty, out of guilt, out of not wanting to be the bad guy. But that's what we do, right? We hold on to versions of ourselves out of obligation. And we stay too long in jobs, relationships, friendships, even thought patterns because we think changing means being ungrateful or fake. But here's what I'm learning. Growth is not betrayal. Letting go doesn't mean you hate who you were. It just means you finally love yourself enough to move forward. Sometimes you have to give that old version of you a hug and say, thank you for getting me this far. And then lovingly telling her, you can rest now. Bye-bye. Okay? But you know what? I've got to take a moment and thank the old me because even though she made some questionable choices, she kept me alive. She loved hard. She dreamed big. She fought through things I didn't even have words for at the time. And even when she was doing too much, staying too long, or crying over somebody who couldn't even text her back, she still showed up. Old me never quit. And that's why I get to sit here today, softer, wiser, and a whole lot more unbothered. Now listen, old me also had some questionable taste. Okay, let's be honest. Roster of men, baby, if you saw it on paper, you'd think it was a group project gone wrong. Okay, so don't get me started on some of those friendships that I was even entertaining. If energy vampire was a person, but the truth is, she meant well. She just didn't know better yet. And that's why I can't be mad at her. She did the best she could do with what she knew. She was surviving. She wasn't thriving, but still finding ways to laugh, to love, to show up, even when she was running on empty. So this is me saying thank you. Thank you to the version of me that kept going when everything around me stopped. Thank you to the girl who smiled through heartbreak and still believed in love. Thank you to the woman who handled everything by herself, even when she was tired, because she didn't know how to ask for help. You did what you had to do, sis. But now you can rest. And if you're listening right now, I want you to take a second and think about what you thank your old self for. Like, what did she teach you? What did she survive that you never gave her credit for? Because sometimes healing starts with simply saying thank you. It's just that easy, right? Right. Now, saying goodbye isn't always about closing a door. Sometimes it's about finally choosing yourself. Like, for a long time, I thought letting go meant failure. Like, if I didn't fight to keep a friendship, or if I stopped explaining myself, or it meant I didn't care anymore. But what I've learned, especially over the course of this past month, is that saying goodbye is one of the highest forms of love. It's not rejection, it's release. It's saying, I honor who I was, but I'm ready to grow. And when I look back and I realize how much of my old life was built around survival, doing what I had to do just to get by, to be liked, or to feel safe. But this new chapter is about intention, okay? It's about peace, it's about softness and alignment. It's not chasing chaos anymore. I'm not over explaining myself, over explaining my boundaries. I'm not auditioning for spaces that can't see my worth, because when you know better, you do better. And when you love better, you choose better. So now I'm choosing peace over pressure, grace over guilt, alignment over chaos, and softness, not as a weakness, but as strength. Because the truth is, it takes strength to rest. It takes courage to say, I'm done with the struggle version of me. It takes real healing to not respond to everything that used to trigger you. So, this right here is my goodbye. Not just to my father, not just to the old me, but to anything that no longer serves the woman that I am becoming. And I want you to sit with that for a second. Who or what do you need to release? Like, what version of you is ready to be thanked, to be loved, and finally laid to rest? Because it's okay to move on. You don't need permission. It's okay to become unrecognizable, even to yourself. When you're becoming who you were meant to be, it's okay. So for me, guys, I wanted to write a farewell letter to the old me. So here it goes. Dear old me, first of all, thank you. Thank you for surviving days that tried to break you, for showing up when no one knew how heavy your smile really was. Thank you for choosing love even when it wasn't returned, for giving grace to people that didn't earn it because your heart was just built like that. You did the best you could do with what you knew. And I know sometimes it didn't feel like enough. You stayed too long in places that drained you, gave too many chances to people who only took, and bit your tongue just to keep peace. But sis, you did your job. You got me here. You taught me resilience. You taught me how to find beauty in broken places. You taught me how to keep laughing even when life wasn't funny. And now I see things differently. I don't need to earn love. I am love. I don't need to chase validation. I am the table. I don't need to prove I'm strong anymore, because softness is my new strength. So thank you for everything you endured to make sure that I survived. But this is where our journey ends, not because you failed, but because I'm finally ready to live beyond survival. I'm choosing peace over pressure, grace over guilt, alignment over chaos. So rest now. Rest knowing that I'm safe, that I'm growing, and I'm finally becoming who we were always meant to be. With love, me. That was my goodbye to my father, to my old self, and to everything that no longer fits where I'm headed. Grief and growth have a way of stripping you down to the truth, okay? They show you what matters, and who doesn't. But they also remind you that love, real love, never dies. It just changes forms. So maybe this episode is your sign to sit down, write your own love letter. It may be to the woman you used to be. It could be to someone that you've lost, or to a season that you're finally ready to release. Write it down. Say it out loud. Let it go with love, because you don't owe anyone any explanation for choosing peace. And when you let go with intention, you make space for something softer to grow. So y'all, this wraps up season 1 of Pink Table Confidential. I know it took me a minute to get here, okay? We have cried, we have laughed, we have healed, we cussed a little, prayed a lot, and we kept it real every single episode. Season 2 is going to be all about the soft life. We're trading chaos for calm, hustle for harmony, and learning to thrive in joy, okay? Because, baby, we've done the hard work. So now it's time to live in the ease of what we've earned, okay? So if today's episode touched you, please share it with another who needs that reminder that they can let go and still be whole. I want to hear from you. You can write your own Dear Old Me letter, tag Pink Table Confidential or Sweet Kitty Club, or DM me. Okay, we need to flood the timeline with healing and soft girl energy. Make sure you are subscribed and you don't miss out on season 2 when it drops, because listen, it's gonna be good. Thank you so much for riding through season 1 with me. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting Sweet Kitty Club and this whole journey of becoming. Okay, until next time, keep your heart soft, your boundaries firm, and your kitty sweet. Okay, y'all already know happy women don't hate, and hating women ain't happy. And as always, stay tapped in with Sweet Kitty Club. Use Pink Table code at checkout. And at the table is where healing always comes with a little humor and a whole lot of honesty. I'm Montana, and I'm signing off. Peace.